Listen, we ain't gonna go back into that though. I want to hear all of that. You got an hour? You got an hour to talk?
Yes.
Lord have mercy. You got feeling or something? That's the only way we're gonna keep it interesting.
I
You know
got
what I
you. No problem. And we are live. Yes. All right. And welcome back, Soul Squad, to another episode of Sister Soul Sessions, where we are elevating entrepreneurs one soulful conversation at a time. I'm your girl, Brittany, and I'm joined with my sister, Brandie.
Hey, Soul Fam. So tonight we're sitting down with a visionary in the world of luxury and legacy, a man who's redefining what it means to build Black excellence in hospitality.
Yes. Michael, we are so honored to have you with us tonight. Before we dive into your incredible work, can we take a moment to just have you introduce yourself to our audience? Just tell us, who is Michael Clinton beyond the titles and, of course, the building?
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. I'm thrilled to just kind of hang out with y'all for a little bit. Um, I'm Mike Clinton. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I live in Los Angeles, California. I have two beautiful children, Styles and Brilliant. And I have an amazing wife, Tiffany Clinton, who holds me down. We're going to get into all of that, how she holds me down and what it takes to be an entrepreneur and married and all of that, all of the things. But I went off to, from Baltimore, I went off to Duke University. I eventually got my MBA from Vanderbilt. And now I own a few hotels. I own some apartments. I also am a partner at a construction firm here where I head up acquisitions in and around Los Angeles. We're doing a few things in real estate and I'm trying to do a few things for the culture as well.
Yes. We're here for the culture.
Speaking of culture, though, so the name Redline, obviously it carries a deeper meaning to the title, rooted in history, but standing for empowerment. What made you choose that name?
It was a collaborative effort between I have three incredible co-founders in the Redline Hotel Group. We bought a property in Venice, California, and Venice is beachside. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's very different than the other beaches that are in Los Angeles. It's more welcoming. It's more diverse. So there were a couple of things that led to the name. The first was the idea of owning a property like this that close to the beach is rare, right? And we actually, thanks to my partner, were able to buy it from another African American family, a family friend of his. And so we had this kind of wealth transference from one Black family to another Black group. And given that it's kind of rare to own properties like that, we also looked secondarily at what was happening in Venice and why was Venice so different than all these other places, right? And so we started kind of peeling back the onion on the history of Venice. And we ended up with the name Redline specifically because the property itself was in a location that historically African Americans were not allowed to own in. And then when you combine kind of what happened from a historical standpoint, from a redlining standpoint, with what was happening specifically in Venice and start to get into the details of that story, you kind of find that there were two African American families who came from Louisiana, and they kind of had their fingerprints on the DNA of what Venice is. If you've never been there, people know it for the skateboarding, for the surfing, and those kind of things. But it's hard to describe, but it's just very eclectic, soulful. It's not whitewashed, right? Really, it's a place where the international communities and African American communities feel welcome, and we wanted to kind of know why. So the reason we found out was because these two African American families had all this influence on this area, this particular location. That's why it's different. And so all of these things, kind of combined with, working with a historian and named Allison Rose Jefferson, combined to create this concept of the Redline Hotel. When you go in the suites, we tell that story and those stories through the artwork and such that you see in the walls.
I love that. I grew up in California, San Diego, but always visiting the LA area, knowing Venice Beach, mainly for the eclectic vibe of just like going to Muscle Beach. We play basketball there, but like you said, not much ownership. So it's such a powerful story because it's once a space of exclusion, now a space of elevation that you've brought in. What does it mean to you to personally reclaim that ground and create something luxurious yet historical at the same time?
Yeah, look, we live in some wild times right now, politically and otherwise, and Venice already gets millions of visitors a year. So when you go and you see our property, you're going to see that if you just want access to the beach and the restaurants and those kind of things, it's there, right? We got the great high thread count sheets and the service and the robes. I mean, it's a 5-star experience for sure. But if you want to learn a little bit more, if you're a family and you got kids and you want them to scratch the surface about kind of the history of it, it's the real history, right? So many people tell us they're from LA, they go to Venice all the time, but they had no idea that African Americans had so much influence in this particular part of Los Angeles. If you want to learn those things, if you want a little bit of education to kind of go along with your vacation and your 5-star stay, that's what we're trying to offer there. So I'm not going to just let this be question and answer. I'm just telling y'all, and we got a whole hour to fill. And so we were on KJLH this morning. I've been talking all day.
Yeah.
I do need to do just a little bit of listening.
Sure.
Right?
That's fine.
I love what y'all are doing. Y'all are entrepreneurs too, right? And I don't want to flip this interview, but I don't know anything about y'all. The people don't know anything about y'all. And so you guys got to just take a minute and just tell us a little bit about how y'all met, why y'all doing this. You know what I mean? Like, it's not normal, right? Hats off to y'all. And so as entrepreneurs, it's got to be just a touch interactive. We can talk about Redline. We can talk about the guest house. I got to pause for a second and just hear about how did y'all meet, where, why? Just tell the people all the things.
Thanks, Michael. We love talking ourselves. No. So my sister and I actually met 15 years ago in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Y'all are sisters, blood sisters.
We are not blood sisters. It's just from day
Sorority
one.
sisters.
Yeah, from day one, this has been my sister since since I met her. We just had this just a magnetism, And in Albuquerque, New Mexico, just great friends over the years. Always looked out for each other. Years later, happened to have both moved to San Antonio, which is absolutely insane. Working on things separately. We were kind of both working as or trying to get like some certs for IT, things like that. So we were kind of working on that, discussing it. Our girls are around the same age, so just always been really close, honestly. As we were building our own entrepreneurial journeys, because we're in IT, I do a lot of consulting for networking, cybersecurity, things like that for other companies. She was getting into it. She does a lot of social media management. I knew that I had to promote my business at one point, but I'm not a social media person. Felt like, hey, I speak a lot. I think it would be a good idea for me to try to create some type of podcast. I do, I do. And I'm inquisitive. I decided to create a podcast. It was actually first with my younger sister, who's my blood sister, brought B in, and B, I'll kind of let you take over from there, how you got brought in and then how we came to today.
So pretty much, I had my own podcast, and it was called "Talking Shit No Chaser," and I did this with a close friend of mine from high school, and we would do this free format every Friday. And I noticed Brittany, her sister, would jump into the live to kind of just watch and just show support. And then one day they was like, "Hey, so you want to be on our podcast just as just managing our social media because we know that's your thing?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, absolutely. I can run the social media." Then it was like, "You could be the executive creative director." And I was like, "I don't know what none of that stuff is, but I'm always here to help." Then I think it was one time, I think Amanda didn't make it or something like that, but they had me on there. I'm super introverted. Super introverted. If you can watch any of our past episodes, I barely ask maybe like one or two questions. I'm just super introverted. But
We're gonna change that today. Because you gotta tell the folks where you from though. They're gonna
from Baltimore. I am also from Baltimore. So prior to this live, Michael and myself realized that we actually grew up around the same neighborhood. And we're also part of the biggest and greatest fraternity ever in the entire universe, Kappa Psi Fraternity Incorporated. Obviously, I'm a sweetheart. So, but pretty much, yeah. So I joined on their live a few times, and I just didn't. I don't know. I wasn't comfortable enough to talk, and Brittany would always push me like, "Hey, so these are the questions we're gonna ask, and you have to ask some questions too." And I'm like, "Okay, all right."
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
So this is kind of bringing you out of your shell a little bit.
It
You
is.
cannot be an introverted podcast host. You do realize this, right?
I know this. I know this, and she's been working with me on it, and I greatly appreciate her patience.
So how did y'all combine? How did you let go of your podcast, or maybe you still do it to kind of combine to do this together?
I let it go because my best friend, she became very busy with things that she wanted to do and things that she wanted to achieve. So I was like, okay, well, we can pick this up whenever. And she's aware of that, and I'm aware of that as well. At any time, we can pick it up and keep it moving. But she is super supportive, and she watches all of our lives, and she shares our lives. She's very supportive. So.
Okay. And then how did y'all figure this out to kind of do it together?
It just, like I said, we have a natural magnetism for each other.
We really do.
So every week it's just like, hey, we're gonna do this again. Now we're on year 2 of doing this and have met the most amazing entrepreneurs. So every week for us, this is a masterclass, and that's kind of what we've been getting out of it. This has strengthened not only the podcast but our personal lives, like our finances. We've had so many different people that it's really like just built us up. So it's easy for us to continue to do it. Honestly, we have made so many connections with the past guests that we've had. They have started collaborating. They're inviting us to their events and things like that. So it's exactly what we want it to be. We're really both big on networking and building something for our community, making sure that we grow the Black dollar, the entrepreneurial space. So we get to somehow be a part of that by bringing all of these entrepreneurs together. So honestly, it's been easy to do. Every week we've been on this. We have not missed a week, have we? Even if we don't have a guest. So that's the times when people get to hear about us a little bit, but we like to showcase other stories because there's so many avenues that people don't know that we could be building in. I think we only see things that are, on TV, and we want to show them, hey, like there is more to us, period. And let's collaborate, let's build it. And that's what's been happening for the last 2 years. So it's been easy for us.
What you just said really resonates for me. Part of why I do these things is because, growing up in Baltimore, you didn't necessarily see a lot of examples of us doing big things. And so if we had those, mentors and such,
Right.
maybe we would have ended up in different places sooner, right?
Exactly.
And so I just think it's really important to tell stories, to reach back, to talk about, particularly to the younger generation. I really am a big encourager of entrepreneurship. Even if you have your day job, I think God put it in all of us to create something, right? He is the creator, and he put that ability in us. And I think we get so caught up in the 9 to 5 and paying the bills and just trying to make it from day to day that we ignore those impulses to grow and to create. And so I love the fact that you guys decided, to do this, and collectively we can encourage other people to do it too, particularly in this economy, right? I mean, you grow up, everyone says get that good government job. That good government job now is like, for real. You got the furloughs and this, and the reality is, nothing is promised, right? You're kind of, when I was debating on being an entrepreneur or getting kind of a 9 to 5, my father-in-law, Robert Brown, told me, he said, you think that you have like more security because you have this paycheck, right? You think like it feels like security. But the reality is, if you don't perform, or your division doesn't perform, whatever, you could be let go just as easily as a business could go under. And so it's really an illusion, right? And people are really realizing that now. There's a lot of forced entrepreneurship where people have to figure out how to get their hustle on, how to sell something, how to open a merch shop, how to do this, how to do that. Because that job that they got at the Social Security building, you know what I mean, or at the DMV or wherever else, it's not as reliable as you think it is. And so this is my favorite topic, between God and entrepreneurship. This is what you guys are doing is amazing. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. We are truly honored to have you as well.
Entrepreneurship definitely means a lot to us, because we are serial entrepreneurs, but also, like you said, just working a 9 to 5, and it's really not a guarantee, because as soon as they can find somebody to replace you, you good as gone.
You're just a number.
And so many people are doing jobs that they hate, or they're doing jobs just to get kind of a paycheck. And at some point, you only have so much time here on this earth, and you have to kind of make these decisions for yourself. What do I really want to leave as my legacy? You can't really pass your job on to your kids. So, what does that look like? And so it's not to say that go off and quit your job and, have no idea, but like, especially with like ChatGPT and AI and all these ways, like you can do so much more with so much less time, that now is really the time to explore these things, to write that book, to start that podcast, to open that merch shop, to do some designs. I mean, if you can figure out things to create, there's other people who will help you monetize it. And before you know it, maybe you don't need the 9 to 5, and maybe you're doing something that's more fulfilling, right? Something that makes you feel good in addition to making money. We all want to make money. You got to do that. But at the same time, I really just want to encourage people to jump out there and figure out what else it is. If you're not happy with wherever you are, how do you get there? Because time is the only thing that we're running out of every single day.
Very true. And that's why it's really important for us to do this. At first, it was a passion project, but seeing the connections and people who have just watched, and they're like, man, I've reached out to this person, or I've gotten mentorship from this other person. And it's like you stated before, we didn't have that when we were younger. I'm originally from East St. Louis. And I know the people that influenced most of the people where I'm from. They were the corner boys, or, things like that. I never spoke with someone who was a hotelier, or, someone who built their own robot, who we've had like a couple months ago, finance people. So there wasn't a designated place to come and have this type of, education. So we're always honored to have someone, especially like you, who came from Baltimore, like you guys were stating earlier. So it was offline, but you guys were just speaking a little bit about your neighborhood. And it's like, what even brought that to you, to think that you could do something like that? Because what influences did you have, really?
Well, I would say my mom was a huge influence on me. She used to always tell me I'm smarter than everybody else. I can do anything I set my mind to. And she kind of meant it, right? Like when I went off to college, she gave me 2 suitcases and took me down to the train station, to Penn Station, and sent me off to college. And that was it. And she didn't come to college to visit until graduation. So there was I realized in hindsight that she was kind of grooming me to be independent. And she would call to check on me, but the main thing she wanted me to do was graduate on time. She said, just Michael, you cannot do a 5th year because these tuition bills and this, that, and the other. Like, you got to be done. So are you going to graduate on time? Like she wasn't checking grades and all those kind of things. So I think that, she helped me realize that education is a great equalizer, right? And so it starts with college education, and now you really can't even just do undergrad. You need a graduate degree if you're going to kind of go that route.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you could do no education and really, I would say you could learn sales, you can learn a trade, you can do these other things, but that comes down to hustle, right? That's essentially being an entrepreneur. So, you have to kind of decide what you want out of life. And so I think the idea of working for a company for 30 years and then retiring to make less than you did when you were working, that didn't make sense to me. Both my parents worked for Baltimore City Public Schools, and I asked my mom. They both passed away. Rest in peace to Laverne and Eugene Clinton. For my Be More folks who are watching, they both retired making $28,000 a year. I couldn't believe it. After working 30 years, that's what they ended up at, right? Now, they grew up in a time where you could buy a house for 90 grand, right? So it was a very different time. It wasn't like I wouldn't say we were poor or anything like that. We were probably lower middle class or, at best. But I wanted to do something more. And so once I got to Duke, and I was really a fish out of water in college. Coming from Baltimore to Duke was complete culture shock. I didn't really feel prepared academically, even though like I was in, the higher end classes in high school and those kind of things, but I didn't feel prepared once I got to school. And I realize now in hindsight, because my kids are in private school, and now I realize, oh, this is different. Like what my kids are getting relative to what I got is crazy different. And so to realize in hindsight what I was kind of competing against and had to kind of catch up to, that's why it was so uncomfortable academically and otherwise. But fortunately, as was mentioned, when I was a freshman, there were some seniors who were in my weightlifting class, Jason Hamilton and Randy Seeley, and unbeknownst to me, they were both noobs. And so they didn't introduce themselves as that. They just, at one point, they like yelled across the yard. And that was how I realized that there was something to it. I didn't know anything about fraternities. I wasn't looking for them. And now, Jason, Dr. Hamilton, I should say, lives maybe a mile from me. His kids watch my kids. There's a lot to the fraternity that I got out of it that I didn't expect, but it was that group of men who were the beginning after. Now, I did something, right? I got to Duke. It took something to go from Baltimore to get to Duke. But once you got there, there's levels to everything, right? And so what really got to the next level mentally was these guys, right? Because they were all seniors across the board, accepted to medical school and law school. My mentor, James Miller, ended up in business school. He does real estate as well. And so after I pledged, it was like, oh, well, what we as a group do is we achieve, right? Achieve. And so we go to grad school. So now I'm like, okay, well, eventually I'm going to grad school. That was the beginning of it. So I say this if anybody was listening, like choose your friends wisely, like choose your fraternity and your chapter very wisely, because the people who are around you, that's wherever they going, that's where you going as well, right? And so whoever you spend your time with, and whether that's virtually, whether that's through books, like whatever you focused on and concentrating on, whoever you're idolizing, those are the people, that's the direction. So I picked a group of men who were all about achievement, all about their families, all about their wives, all about their children. And that's kind of who I ultimately became.
Yes. And B, I know you know about that life.
It's crazy because like my next door neighbor, like I said, it was Floyd Farrell, and of course his dad and his brother. They grew up next to me, so I knew all about Kappa. I just didn't think I would be a sweetheart, but grew up around nukes, so it just came natural to just get on the yard and be like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna do this. I already knew, but
I love that.
much like what Michael said, it is exactly that. You want to be very careful about the friends that you choose, anybody that you associate with, whether it's business, personal, or in between. Just be careful choosing them because birds of a feather flock together. Because if you know somebody and they failing and they in them streets and doing things they're not supposed to, we're all going to assume that you do the same thing. So that's why I hang tough with Brittany, because Brittany and I, we both, again, in IT, we do cybersecurity, both amazing moms, and it just makes sense.
That's awesome.
Magnetic. It makes sense.
That's awesome.
And I know, Michael, you're also a family man. How does being a father and husband influence the way you lead, build, and define your success?
Oh man, I'm very, very hands-on dad. My dad wasn't very hands-on, and so I probably overdo it. I mean, I take my kids to school every day. I try to pick them up as often as I can. I will postpone or eliminate travel if I can, because I don't want my wife to have to, and she's totally capable, right, of handling them by herself, but it can be a lot. And so I think, let me talk about my wife just for a second. Her support over the years, and this is another thing I would say. So after I left college, I would say, besides my fraternities, my second biggest influence here has been my wife. And so my wife is from LA, right? And when I met her in Washington, D.C., and I saw her walk in the room, and it was just like, I knew I needed to level up to get with this. It was just, and so the game I was spitting to her was on levels beyond. I mean, I'm talking about taking her on trips. I don't have no passport. You know what I mean? It's like, so and she came from LA, and now I live in LA. I'm in Baldwin Hills, and I realized what she saw growing up. Now, there are really nice houses in Baltimore and in Pikesville. Like, there are mansions around this corner from where I went to middle school, Pikesville Middle, right? Right down the street is like where the Ravens live and all these whoever else, 11,000 square foot homes. And I would have, but if you don't take the time to drive through the neighborhoods, all you see are the very normal houses that we live in, and then the row houses that we grew up in Baltimore. That's all you see. And my mom didn't have the foresight to take us through those neighborhoods, right, to help you dream and see things bigger. Now, my wife didn't have this problem because her mom, who is amazing, God rest her soul, used to take her through Beverly Hills, through the mansions. And so when she comes and steps on the scene in my life, her whole perspective is, eons above what I was in a studio apartment in Georgetown after like rotating from Southeast DC to Northeast to Northwest. Shout out to Reggie Blackwell, who was my boy holding me down while I was moving through, trying to figure this out and that out. And my wife was like, my biggest dream was to go from the studio to go just get a 1-bedroom apartment. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get off the ground level. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go to the floor, She's like, no, we need to buy a house. Like all right, well, I guess I gotta go buy a house. You know what I mean? So my wife's influence on me, and anybody who knew me from before and after her, has been incredible. And so it's the same narrative again. Whoever you pick as your mate, man, you gotta pick that person wisely, right? Because y'all are going wherever y'all are going together, right? And I have taken her through some adventures that she didn't sign up for at the same time, but this desire to do things bigger and do things better, to really have something for our kids, she was a huge influence on that, and still, maintains and remains that to this day.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, it definitely is important who you align yourself with and who's going to be there for encouragement on those times when you're building. So that's amazing. I love that you gave her that shout out and making sure that, she's also fully aware every day that, she's a part of what the legacy that you're building. So that's amazing.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Me? Now I gotta ask a question. Now I gotta ask a question. Okay, so
it's better than me just talking. Well, I can ask y'all some questions too.
Feel free to it. Go and ask the question. Go and ask us some questions.
We don't need any questions asked.
Yeah, I can continue on the last question. That's very easy in terms of you asked about being a dad, right, and what that means in terms of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think my wife and I are really we're building monsters, like in terms of what we're investing in our kids. These kids are amazing. They go to what I think is the best school in LA, and we've learned enough to know that while we're thankful for the things that our parents did for us, it's levels to it. And so the kids are really the drivers for all of it. And so how much time we spend with them in terms of homework, in terms of, my son is in like soccer, basketball, football. Well, he swapped soccer for lacrosse, tennis. Those are not the kind of things that I go. In fact, we are so busy that sometimes I'm like, our parents didn't do it like this. I mean, it's almost impossible, right? Full-time jobs, involved in schools, all of the sports on the weekends, right? Still got to figure out 3 meals a day, right? And find sometimes an exercise if you're lucky. It's really, it's a lot. It's almost impossible, right? Their birthday parties. I mean, it's endless. So we're tired, but it's worth it, And so, and it kind of begins and ends with what we invest in the kids. And so, I'm excited about what they Styles and Brilliant are their names. Styles St. Clinton and Brilliant St. Clinton. And I'm excited about what they're gonna go off and do. And we're just trying to hand them a foundation that's higher than the one that we started on.
Exactly. And what amazing names that you gave them. I love that. You said it earlier, but I thought you were just calling them that.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love their names. Now I do want to shift to the guest house at Natchez. That property is rich in heritage itself and Southern charm, of course. What first drew you to it, and how did you know it was meant to be a part of your journey with what you're building?
Oh man. Okay, so when me and my wife got married in Cabo San Lucas, my fraternity brother was supposed to marry us, and at the last minute he got pulled away. And the man who did marry us, shout out to Joseph Smith, was from Natchez, Mississippi, and that's how we had no idea where or what it is. And I'm really thankful that he introduced us. So his family and our families historically have been very close. And Natchez was at one point like the capital of the slave trade. I learned all this in retrospect, like the epicenter of the cotton industry. more millionaires in this city than anywhere else in the entire world, all on the backs of the cotton industry. This is how America got rich, right? Really. Literally selling us as assets, right? And so when you kind of get more granular, you'll find that Natchez, in terms of its storied past, the plantation owners took their wealth and they went to downtown Natchez and they built these incredible antebellum mansions and so on. And they're just showing off their wealth because they can, right? So Black people built it, Black people paid for it, Black people, no Black people at this point own any of it. And so when we got introduced to the city and the story, we wanted to be part of the narrative that took one of these. The guest house is essentially a plantation without all of the acres and acres of land, and make it Black owned, and just inspire the locals and eventually, hopefully, inspire the masses that we don't just have to, shine shoes in these places, right? We can own them, we can manage them, we can run them. I really think that Natchez needs to be on the bucket list of every African American in the country. Just come visit once, right? Definitely, I want to, the people in New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Jackson, the Black people who are within driving distance, come check us out. It's a 12,000 square foot mansion. It's your mansion, right? It's something that we were at the helm of and kind of steering the ship, but we did it for the culture, right? And we want us to feel comfortable there. So we have a lot of plans to tell that story from a PR and a marketing standpoint. We want to get people involved. I think that this particular asset could be historically kind of iconic for us. I want it to be like the Liberty Bell or the Monument or the African American Museum, where even if you've never been, you know about it, right? You just know that, Black people, this is the largest Black-owned antebellum mansion in the country. The largest one before this was 55,000 square feet, but in Louisiana, but it burned down. And so I should say this, it's definitely the largest in the South. I want to make sure I do a little bit more research before I say that it's the largest in the country. But there are other Black-owned mansions. Debbie Cosi has an amazing one as well in Natchez, Mississippi. And she is, for people who do or don't know, she's iconic. Like, think Maya Angelou, meets Patti LaBelle. I mean, and so she's kind of adopted us as auntie, and we love her dearly. And Natchez is an incredible place to go. Like, come for a weekend, come hang out. We're gonna have a big Christmas party on December 6th in Natchez. I take my kids every year. They love it. The parade goes right in front of our mansion, and the judging for the parade happens on our rooftop, and so it's kind of the epicenter of this Hallmark Christmas card type city, with great food and great time, and they throw candies for the kids. It's a special place, and I'm hoping to. And we're actually, Natchez is about to get a commercial airport. So right now I got to fly into New Orleans and drive over, but eventually I'm going to be able to fly, into Natchez, which is going to be incredible. And so we just thought it was something that needed to be done, and here we are trying to do it.
I love that. And so what I've noticed is you talk a lot about reclaiming space. And so my question is, what does the phrase mean when you think about your work, and how can others start reclaiming space in their own industries?
That is a great question. I'm in the real estate industry, right? So when I think of reclaiming spaces, I'm thinking of buying properties that historically we were not allowed to own, right? That's what the idea of redlining is. The government, set out and had this kind of plan to keep us from owning in certain neighborhoods, certain locations. It kept us from having access to not only the best houses, but the safest neighborhoods, right? It kept us from having access to the best public schools and the best healthcare networks. So they're really crippling us, right? In addition to costing us billions of dollars in net worth. And so when I think of reclaiming spaces, I think of home ownership, buying in places that maybe you weren't necessarily historically supposed to, which is all of them. But I would imagine in terms of your specific question, it's like taking the word redline, and even though it's historically has been something negative, we're now reclaiming that word and redefining it to make it something inspirational, right? It's just like the N word, right? What it means to us is different than what it meant to all of the white people who used to use it, right? So Black people, we are geniuses, right? We have this unique ability to take things and make it cool, to make it, swaggy, to make it something that other people want to be a part of. And so reclaiming space can be however you approach your particular industry or your particular neighborhood. Find something different to do, some find ways to flip it on its head and make it something that that people love.
Exactly. And there's so many untold stories, whether it be in the South, with most people not knowing about LA like you're representing. So I just want to thank you for teaching people about the resilience and the beauty of the Black legacy in those spaces. Because I mean, even on this call, I've learned a lot about even just Natchez. Like I knew about the space, I knew about the slave trade, but I think that's all of the legacy we get to hear about when it's, our culture and not what we've actually claimed. So I love that you are reclaiming those words and those spaces. So I really do thank you for teaching us in this moment, but also, taking on, that cross really, and carrying that for the rest of us to continue what we have built in this country. So it means a lot that you are doing that.
Yeah, and I want to make sure that it's clear. Like Natchez, Mississippi. This is my first experience with Mississippi. Natchez is a wonderful place to be and hang out. It's not some place I would necessarily want to live.
Okay.
But just because it's small, I mean, LA.
Yeah, you're from LA,
Right. But for a weekend, Natchez is an incredible weekend. I mean, the people are beautiful. The narrative is changing. The mayor is doing a good job trying to put it on the map. Shout out to Dan Gibson. I think that we still have our issues. Like there was a movie that came out, some of the people locally still using the N-word and those kind of things. So you're going to have that, right? But again, you're reclaiming spaces and reclaiming wherever we decide to plant our flag. If we go 10 toes down on it, we can make it what we want it to be, right? Exactly. We can make it. We can declare that this is going to be something that's going to inspire others. Come down on the porch, have some lemonade, come to the restaurant, have some food, and make it something positive. Despite, we having to do that in the United States right now, right?
Everywhere we go.
Yeah, look at who's at the helm and all of the kind of crazy stuff that's happening and ICE raids and this, that, and the other. We still have to be able to operate, make moves that make sense and stay positive despite what's around us. You can do that, anywhere you go.
Exactly. And speaking about, sitting on the porch, having some lemonade, if you could host a dinner at either Redline or Natchez with 3 guests, past or present, who would be sitting at the table and what kind of conversation would you be having?
3 guests.
Or 1, however many you want.
Right.
I have dinner with 3 guests, any past or present, at the same time or separately, because those are different.
Let's have it at the same time. We're at a dinner party. Create the dinner party.
Wow. You really putting me on the spot. If I could have dinner with anybody historically, I have to sit down with Jesus. There's no way around that, right? He was a person. He was here. Mm-hmm. He was the most famous person in the history of the planet. I can't even time itself. The reason today is November 7th is because if you go back to 0, that's when he, that's when he died, right? So when something happens so transformative that time itself starts over and we start counting from that event, this is beyond Michael Jackson and all these people who are so famous, right? So I have to sit down with Jesus. I have so many questions. Why didn't Jesus get married? Right? Like, marriage is such a big and difficult thing to navigate and figure out because you have two people coming from two different worlds. Why aren't there just, if he had just got married, we could have saw how would you handle this? I mean, like,
exactly.
you know what I mean? So I gotta say Jesus.
I love that. Yeah.
I think I would love to sit down with my grandmother, Mama, who grew up on Emerson Avenue, right near Emerson Avenue in Poplar Grove. She was the first person that I lost that was really like, I was crying and like, I don't understand and all this kind of good stuff. So Ruth Cook is second. I would just want to pick her brain, a bit more. I wasn't old enough. My other grandmother, my father's mother, Lillian Clinton, I was old enough that I could talk to her, and I used to just stop by and pick her brain and just ask her questions. And I didn't get to do that with my mother's mother. And so she would be the second person I would just love to I'm looking forward to kicking with her and having and just learning, all of the things. And then I'll pick something a little less sentimental and probably say Barack Obama. That dude is just so cool. And I just, some of my fraternity brothers worked in his administration. I feel like I'm like 1 degree of separation from him.
You're Jason, yes.
I invited him and Michelle to the wedding. He couldn't make it or anything.
Right.
But, he gave us a rain check. He sent us a little, note saying congratulations. And so I would love to sit down with Barack and just kind of kick it. I just know he's so cool and that he would love me and my wife. Like, we would be best friends for sure.
I love that. Thank you.
And so, okay, so you're the proof when purpose meets passion. Legacy gets built. Can you tell our audience how to reach you, how to book with you at either one of your locations or both your locations?
Well, I put them up on the screen. So that's my IG, and that's also the IG for the guest house, TGH Natchez. I tried to put the Redline Hotel Group. I got to talk to my partners because it was too long. They said 50 characters is the maximum.
Yeah.
So I just went with those. And that's also a website, tghnatchez.com. At the redlinehotelgroup.com is where they can book for a stay with Venice. And I'm easy to get a hold of. Text, email. I probably got just 8 email addresses.
Okay.
I mean, we not stop. So I'm easy to get in touch with. And now they know you. They can hit you. You can be like, I know them. You know what I mean? I just
set up a couple parties, networking events.
Yeah, exactly. Come through for the Christmas party. It's going to be a good time. I think I still got a few rooms left. Shout out to my cousin Jay and Andre who came last year. I think my cousin Tony Crumble's going to come this year. I'm holding a couple rooms because you never know who might try to slide through. My fraternity brother Blake Stanfield came one year. He's in New Orleans, so they might come this year. It's a good time. It's a good time. So I'm easy to get in touch with.
Yeah, we'll definitely post about that as well. And Michael, your journey is such a testament to vision and resilience. What's one message you'd leave for the next generation of entrepreneurs watching this, especially those dreaming of building something from the ground up?
Just like never give up, right? I mean, resilience is the key word. I tell people when people ask how I'm doing, I say some things are going great. Some things are still a work in progress, and so I'm a work in progress. The businesses are a work in progress. We're still building. I'm really excited about what we're doing with the Redline. We're planning on expanding the brand into other cities. We've already found the location that we want to do we want to purchase in New Orleans. I know where I want to do something in Inglewood. and eventually we're going to be doing a crowd fundraise where people can invest and partner with us. It's like the Redline is a Black owned brand, so it's like if you went back in time and could buy into Marriott or Hilton or Wyndham before it blew up, that's the opportunity. There haven't been any Black owned, particularly Black line, culturally focused brands that are actually scalable, right? That we can take to other cities, and it actually makes sense, right? Because those places will have their respective stories. So I think my story, to go back to your question, my in terms of entrepreneurs, is like you can't give up, because Redline, the guest house, these things they're difficult, right? We're doing them, but they're difficult. And so when things get hard, you're gonna really find out what you're made of. And the person who does whatever it is first, when you step out first, that's the person that takes the most bullets, right? Because he's trying to figure it out for the first time. Like my parents didn't have businesses; they weren't entrepreneurs. I'm kind of figuring this thing out as I go. You can do things like go to business school, and you can talk to other entrepreneurs. You can launch podcasts. You can learn. So invest in the education so that you can try to make fewer mistakes, but you're going to make mistakes. You got to be resilient in spite of them.
Okay. Well said.
Can I ask the question now?
Yep, your favorite.
I got it this time. I got it. Okay, so our signature Sister Soul Sessions question is, if you could give a title to the memoir of your life and journey thus far, what would it be and why?
If I could give a title to the what of my life?
To your memoir
To my memoir.
of your life.
Oh
Thus
yeah,
far.
I'm writing. I'm already writing this book.
What?
I'm not gonna
What's
I'm
the
not gonna
second
tell
one?
I'm not gonna tell the title of it because
Mm,
I think somebody's gonna steal it if I try to tell a title. So I'll just say it's something like from Be More to Baldwin Hills, or from Be More to Being More.
Ooh,
okay.
a bar.
That's the,
Just
that's the
downloading
direction that it's going in.
Okay, okay.
That's the direction
I
that
love
it's
that.
that's the direction that it's going in. But it's it's just about the adventure that is life, and like all of the kind of adventures that we've been on.
Yes, thank you. And Michael, thank you so much for sharing your story with us tonight, for showing that luxury can have roots and history can have a new home. We truly appreciate it.
Thank you guys for having me, and if there's anything I can do for you guys to continue the relationship in terms of from a collaboration standpoint, I'm here 10 toes down for y'all.
Thank you. We truly
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. And this has been Sister Soul Sessions, elevating entrepreneurs one soulful conversation at a time. We want to thank you guys all for joining us. Please reach out, Michael A. Clinton 6, and of course his hotels, the Redline Group, and TGH Natchez. We want to see those bookings, and we'll be posting this soon. Have a good night.
Good night.